Hello, my little friends, and welcome. Are you all snuggled in and ready for a wonderful story? Oh, good. Let's get cozy, because our adventure is about to begin.
You know, our story today takes us to a very, very funny and silly place. It's called the Kingdom of Fools. Can you even imagine what a place like that would be like? It sounds so goofy. And in this silly kingdom, oh my goodness, everything was completely topsy-turvy and upside down. It was probably the silliest place you've ever heard of.
Can you believe this? The king there made a super strange rule. Everyone had to sleep when the bright sun was up in the sky, and they only worked when the moon came out. How silly is that?
Well, one day, a wise guru and his friend, the disciple, they arrived in this strange city. And they were so surprised. A big bunch of yummy bananas. It cost 1 little coin. A giant bag of rice. Just 1 little coin. Everything, big or small, cost the exact same single coin, called a dadu.
The wise guru said, this place is too silly for us. I think we should leave. But his friend just loved all the cheap, yummy food. So he stayed behind and ate and ate and ate bananas and rice and ghee every single day until he grew as fat and round as a big, sweet laddu.
But then, one dark night, something very strange happened. Uh-oh, it looks like someone is in big, big trouble in the kingdom. So a thief was quietly sneaking out of a rich merchant's house when, kaboom, crash, the old wall of the house fell right down on top of him. Oh dear, what a terrible mess.
Now the silly king had to figure it all out. Whose fault was it? What do you think? Was it the thief's fault for being a bit naughty, or was it maybe the fault of the man who owned the house?
So, to find out who was to blame, the king started a very, very silly game. Are you ready to see how it goes? We can call it the pointing game. Okay, so first, the king pointed his finger at the merchant who owned the house. But the merchant cried, "No, no, your highness, it wasn't me. It was the bricklayer who built that wobbly wall." And then he pointed his finger right at the poor bricklayer. Then the bricklayer said, But my mind wasn't on building the wall. There was a dancing girl with her jangling anklets who kept dancing by. So they brought the dancing girl, and she said, "It's not my fault. I was waiting for the lazy goldsmith to make my jewelry." You see, the pointing just kept going on and on. And can you guess what happened next? The goldsmith blamed the very same merchant for being in a hurry. The blame went around in a big, silly circle and came right back to the merchant whose house it was in the first place. But just when things were looking very messy and all mixed up, a hero was on his way. Can you guess who was coming back to save the day? The king decided the merchant must be punished. But there was a tiny problem. The merchant was too skinny. So the silly king had an idea. Go find someone fat enough to be punished. And who do you think they found? That's right, our friend, the disciple, who was nice and plump from all that yummy food. Oh no, the poor disciple. But wait, just like magic, at the very last second, his wise guru appeared. And guess what? He had a secret, super-duper clever plan to save his friend.
So what was the guru's secret plan? It was so clever. First, he whispered something in his disciple's ear. Then, they started a big pretend fight. Me first. No, me first. And finally, he gave the king a very interesting and very silly idea.
The guru told the king a big secret. He whispered, "Oh, wisest of kings, this stake for the punishment, it's magical. The very first person punished on it will be reborn as the next king of this whole kingdom. And the second person, well, they will be the minister." And you know what? The silly king believed him. Which means it's time for our happy ending. Let's all say it together. Hooray! You see, the greedy king didn't want anyone else to be the king in the next life. He wanted the job again. So that night, he and his ministers secretly took the place of the guru and the disciple. What a pair of sillies. The next morning, everyone in the town was so happy to be free from the foolish king. So they asked the wise guru and his good friend, the disciple, to be their brand new king and minister. And of course, they said yes. And the very first thing they did was change all the old silly rules. No more sleeping when the sun was out. From that day on, daytime was for working and playing, and the nighttime was for cozy dreams.
The kingdom was finally happy and normal again.
So you see, the wise guru showed everyone that being clever and kind is much, much better than being foolish and greedy. Wasn't he just the cleverest hero? And what a fun adventure we had together. I hope you enjoyed our story. Goodbye, little explorers, and see you next time.